Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This webinar will be recorded, so you will receive a copy of the recording after the event, and it'll also be available out on our website under the recorded event section should you need to go back and review the information. If you do have questions during today's presentation, we ask that you could hold them till the end of the presentation, and you'll see down at the bottom of your screen, there's a raise hand feature. If you could just raise your hand if you do have a question, and then we'll unmute you to be able to speak to our presenters today and ask your questions. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Brock.
Thank you very much. So first, thanks everybody for joining us. Our side, my name is Brock Bindlingmeyer, Program Supervisor for FW Consulting and Wagner CPAs. Along with me is Julie Forrest, who many of you know and have worked with, and also joining us is Julie Dassler, the newest member of our team, but she's extremely ambitious to dive into everything that we have to offer. Finally, Kristen Biermeyer will facilitate the forum and serve as our technical expert. So again, thanks for joining us, the second forum of two. We're scheduled for about an hour, but I don't anticipate it taking that long. I'm just trying to cover some of the basics, basic questions, that we've came across from this tax burden decrease. So as Kristen said, I have a handful of scripted questions, and then we'll open it up for any questions from the audience upon completion. So our goal today is just to keep this very simple. Really on our side, we've been planning and preparing for this for the last handful of weeks. We're excited about being able to offer providers more money in their paychecks. Ultimately, our contract is with each county and agency, so we need to work together to roll this out and work together to facilitate this update. So I'm gonna just share my screen quick. A very simple PowerPoint. Can you guys see it? Yeah. So I mean, this is the talking points. It's very simple. 4 questions, really three topics to cover, with being why we're decreasing the rate and do we expect an increase? What's the new rate of pay for the providers, and where do we go from here with the counties and agencies for how to incorporate this change? So as I mentioned, the effective date of the decrease is July 1st. We're decreasing our rate, our tax burden rate, because upon completion of our workers' comp audit in April, we were passed along a decrease in our rate, and we want to pass it along to the employees. So we needed some time on our side to update our system, which we've since done, and also want to make sure that counties and agencies had adequate time to get things situated on their side. With today being June 3rd, leaves us just under a month to do so. I guess taking a step back, I get to the tax burden in general, going from 14% to 12%. The tax burden in general just covers the employer taxes. So Social Security, Medicare, federal and state unemployment, and then the workers' comp insurance as well. Next, I guess the follow-up to that is, do we expect a rate change in the future? And next year or in the future? And the answer, I guess, is simply no. Like, we don't anticipate this rate changing from 12% anytime in the foreseeable future. Number 2, is a family required to increase a provider's rate of pay based on our increase? And I guess the answer is simply no. It's ultimately the county and family's decision. Well, the family's decision to set the rate for their providers. This change will simply allow providers the ability to be paid more if the family chooses to do so. Third, what's the tax burden? Essentially what's the net effect on the most basic $12, $16, and $20 offs? So for a $12 rate, the update is they would be paid the maximum allowable. They would be paid as $10.72. The old rate was $10.53. So a 19 cents per hour increase. $16 goes to $14.29 from $14.04. And then finally, for a $20 off, providers used to be paid $17.55 and now will be paid $17.86. So 31 cents per hour increase. And I mean, the bottom line, I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish, paying providers as much as we can allow. And, you know, we want families joining your programs to be able to offer their providers the highest rate of pay that we can offer. So I guess I've given background on what the change is going to mean from a processing side, from a provider and family side. And the next question is going to be, I guess, for the people on the call. What do you have to do? Where do we go from here? What's next? And my first piece, I guess, is you got to roll it out to your teams, to your case managers, your families, and distribute information and let case managers know what's going on, that they should be in contact with families and let them know that, you know, the max is essentially increased. The rate of pay is increased. The allowable rate of pay is increased. That if they want to pay their providers more, that they can do so. And I guess the next piece to this is, you know, when you let the case managers know, case managers reach out to families, then what? And I guess that's the piece where we really need to be on the same page. You know, we don't want you know, single email saying, hey, this family decided that they're going to update the rate of pay for this provider. We want to do it as efficiently as possible. Everybody should want to do it as efficiently as possible, so we can try to get these notifications in mass. If, you know, no two counties or agencies are the same size or run the same way, but if it would be easiest to keep some form of I don't know, an Excel document, I guess, or some report of who's going to be changing and provide it that way, I think that would probably be the easiest way to mass distribute the information. And then I guess finally, what's the due date? We're really pushing for Friday, June 25th. That's, you know, three and a half weeks out. Hopefully that should be sufficient time to distribute information. If we don't hear back, their rate of pay will remain the same. So ideally, the sooner that you know the information, the faster you can pass it along. That's really our side. So I guess I expect some follow-up questions or confirmations. Try to provide all the answers that I can. If there's something that I don't have an answer to, and we'll write down the question. Julie, if you would write it down, and we have everyone's contact information. It's on the call, and we can provide the answer to it. The other piece I was gonna say too is I guess my intention is to provide the entire updated rate schedule for the tax burden decrease. I'm hoping most of you know what I mean by that, I guess, with the whole schedule for the off and the rate of pay and the tax consequences, just on the entire spreadsheet. For the prior forum, I sent an email or follow-up email after our discussion to get that out to them. So hopefully that'll be a valuable piece too, that once a determination is made for what the rate is going to be, might be useful for the family, for the provider, for the case manager, however you want to use it. It'll be available. So, let me get back. With that, is there any questions from your guys, from the audience side? Stop sharing. Any questions from the audience side to start? I did think of one other thing. If there is something, you know, I understand it's a lot of information that we've been preparing for, a lot of new information to you. If there's something that, you know, whether it be 5 minutes after we finish the call or 2 weeks from now, if there's something that pops up that you think it would be beneficial to set up a call, I guess, to add us to either a case manager call or an individual call, we'd be more than willing to do so. Answer any questions you guys have and help make this transition easy. Sarah Dimmer.
Hi, I just had a question for the Excel spreadsheet that you were discussing. So does Wagner CPAs have one already per county with each individual client and the providers that they have that could be sent to us, where we would just fill in the new rates on there? Or because typically we provide you guys with changes using the change form. So I mean, for us, that process works a lot more efficiently, just given having multiple staff making the changes versus us compiling our own spreadsheet with that information. So I feel like if you are requesting this spreadsheet, I don't know if you guys already have one made up of all of our client information where we could just add the changes. Otherwise, I think case managers are going to continue with the change form method, because that's just how we have gone over and over to provide changes to you guys. So it just gets conflicting when we change that process up repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, obviously for your county, we did provide that. I think that we have that available, right, Julie? We could still produce that, and I think that would be the path of least resistance. We certainly, you know, I say doing it en masse, I think it is unique or specific to each county. In your guys' example or case, I think that would be the easiest way to do it.
Okay, yeah, that would be great if Julie just wants to email it to me. Thank you.
Yep. Beth.
You email that to Door County as well, Julie, please? I think we already have it, but I want to make sure we're on the same page. Thank you.
Yes, I will.
Deb.
Yeah, and yes, should it just be a standard that's how it's going to be done across the board? Just so I give my team, we're all doing it the same way in this process. Because we too would use the change form otherwise to do so, to make any changes.
If that's the way of doing, if that's the easiest way of doing it en masse, I think we can just incorporate that as the standard. That's the norm.
Okay, just so I know if I'm going to be looking for something coming, and then I can share that with the team as far as how we're going to utilize it once it comes. Just so I'm on the same page.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Brock, I'm not sure. Am I sending something to Deb also?
I think, yeah, we should incorporate that as our standard. If we can pull that from our system. In the way that the way that I see it too, yeah, we already have the list. We can provide that to at the to the county, at the county level, to the people on the call, then I think then they can roll it out or keep this, essentially keep a spreadsheet, keep that Excel document. And then if they're making updates to it, then they can send it, you know, when everyone's done, send it back to us.
Okay.
Brock, there's a question here that came in the Q&A. If take-home pay remains the same and the tax burden decreases, don't they automatically take home more pay?
Say that again. Did that come in the chat?
In the Q&A, if take-home pay remains the same and the
Take-home pay
tax
doesn't remain the
burden,
same.
do you see it?
No, take-home pay does not remain the same. Take-home pay is increased. On 20, like that's it. So $20, you take-home pay used to be $17.55. Take-home pay would now be $17.86. So that the take-home pay is what the decreasing the tax burden means less money being applied to the, being required for taxes, more money being provided on an hourly, you know, on an hourly rate to providers. Can you read the, I'm not sure if I answered, can you read the question again?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I
If
not?
If take-home pay remains the same and the tax burden decreases, don't they automatically take home more pay? I think you're saying the same
Oh,
thing
yeah.
in just different ways.
So, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I see what she's saying. Like, so the auth wouldn't change. The auth, the maximum, the rate on the auth for, let's say, let's use $20 as an example. The auth would say $20. What changes is the decrease in tax burden. This is where we're back on the same page, I guess. The decrease in tax burden will ultimately affect in a higher rate of net pay, more money in pocket.
Thank you. And then there's another question in the chat, but maybe this has already been answered. How are we supposed to let you know of changes in the max rate?
So I think like that's what we can probably just do, the provide the Excel data, provide the list of providers, and they can let us know of the update to the rate of pay. Does that answer what was, can you read the question back to me again, I guess?
Mm-hmm. How are we supposed to let you know of changes
Let
in
us
the
know,
max
right?
rate?
Yep. Right.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
On the previous question, if the take-home pay remains the same and the tax burden decreases, don't they automatically take home more pay? I think that is, just to rephrase what Brock said, that is the point of this webinar. It would not automatically happen. We would want you to
Oh, I
let
see.
us know
I got you. Yeah.
that you want this. If you're already being paid, paying your employees at the max, now you have the opportunity to pay them more. We want your approval or to go ahead and do that.
I see what you're saying too. So, I mean, let's say you were at the max on a $20 off, you were paying the max before. The maximum rate, the maximum allowable take-home rate of pay, $17.55. If you want to essentially opt out, if you want to say no, we're not going to incorporate this tax burden decrease, they would still be paid $17.55. If you tell us, yes, we want to incorporate this update, we want to decrease the tax burden, we want to pay them more, the maximum allowable is now $17.86. Does that answer it better, Julie, or better explanation? We need to, yeah, we need to know, we need confirmation to give them this increase essentially. We, you know, we're the facilitators too. We process or run this on your guys' behalf. We do, well, I mean, we do essentially what you tell us. We need to know if if everybody's on the same page for giving this raise essentially. We hope that you will. We hope that they will. We hope family providers, everybody at every level will, but we don't have the authorization to just mass update everybody.
Brock, there's another question for you. Why wouldn't a family want a provider to be paid more? Tax
Fantastic,
reasons?
fantastic question. Fantastic question. We would expect the same. We would expect that to be the case.
That's all I have on my end. I'm not seeing any more hands or any more questions in the box. So here's another one that just came in. So if as a county, we are giving permission for you to pay the max across the board, can we just say that? We don't really need a spreadsheet then if you just need our permission.
If they say, Julie,
Mhm.
can you read it back to me?
Yep. If as a county, we're giving permission for you to pay the max across the board, can we just say that?
We need, yeah. We need county approval. We need county. We need direction or guidance, I guess.
So they don't need a spreadsheet if they're just giving their permission across the board?
Correct. If they're going to mass, if they're going to say every one of our providers, we're going to incorporate this update. We would need written confirmation of that or an email or something I can document, but yeah, that we would not need a spreadsheet to track individually.
Okay, another question.
Who asked that question?
Does this just apply to kids on the CLTS waiver? We have a few other clients that we pay using other funds.
Can you go back one? Who asked the prior question?
That was
The prior question was from Kate Meyer.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. What was the last one?
Does this just apply to kids on the CLTS waiver? We have a few
Yes.
other clients pay using other funds.
Just the CLTS.
As a additional note, FW Consulting right now, we only pay through the CLTS. I don't believe we have any counties at this point that we're paying outside of CLTS waiver funds.
Any other questions? No. Well, like I said, if any questions arise, I guess from the process, we're certainly here and more than willing to meet with you, your team, whoever it may be. So we're hoping to roll this out as effectively as possible and have everything situated by the deadline day. And then it would be incorporated in the first, it would be the July 31st payroll. Yeah, July 31st payroll through the July 15th end of period. Saw one pop up. Send the rate conversion after the Excel spreadsheet. Correct. Well, I'll send the conversion rate chart after this meeting. It might take a little, let me work with Julie and see what we can pull out of our system. We'll get it to you, but I can't confirm that it'll be right upon completion of the meeting. You're welcome, Nancy. Okay, well, we did it in less than a half hour. So thanks again for everybody for joining us. Good questions. Look forward to rolling this out and working with everybody, and we will certainly be in touch. So have a great day, and thanks again for joining us.